Hello, my name is Dominique Faymonvill. I work at the Swedish Association of Local Authorities and Regions, and I will present you an introduction to Sweden and the Swedish local self-governance. I will also mention that I'm locally elected in my own municipality, which gives me the opportunities to practice what I will present to you today. I usually start my presentation with a picture of grandparents holding a grandchild at home. This picture represents the core of what the municipalities and the regions are doing here in Sweden, the Swedish welfare, meaning you give birth to a child in a hospital who is in charge of the regions, but also the elderly care the municipalities are taking care of. So this picture gives the core of what our members are in charge to, but also how you as a citizen will enjoy and have the rights to these services. Sweden is a country with 10.5 million inhabitants. This is a constitution, monarchy, and we have a parliament there. We have general election every 4th year. Those elections are taking place on the same day from the local, the regional, and the national level. At the Riksdagen, the parliament, we have only one chamber with 349 members. Among them, nearly half are women. We have also on the municipal and regional level, we have the 8 national parties, but also 160 parties that are just on a local or regional level. This is something specific. You can register a party at the Swedish election authorities, which gives you the opportunity to present the list at the election on the local and regional level. On the election day, Swedish citizens go to the election booth and have 3 envelopes with them. One for the local level, one for the regional level, and one for the national level. What is the situation in your country? Is it something that is practical? Is it doable? Do you see advantages, disadvantages? Here in Sweden, we have a participation around 85% during the elections, which is very high, and it's voluntary based. But we are also discussing, is it good having the local and regional on the same day as the national? As on what elections, you have debates where topics are discussed on a local level, on a regional level, on a national level, but sometimes it can get really confusing when the politicians on the national level are discussing and debating subjects that are matters on the local level, or on the regional level, for example, the healthcare. This creates confusions, and sometimes it might be difficult for a citizen to understand which one is really in charge and which one will be also later on providing the service. We had general election in 2018, September, and we have now in the parliament, center-left majority. But on a local and regional level, there we have a plethora of results, as we have 8 national parties, but also 160 regional and local parties. It's also important to understand here, the majority that is on the Riksdagen has not to be the same on the local and regional level. Each municipality, each region has a possibility to choose their own majority, to choose their own working program, which results in a larger and stranger landscape, political landscape. You see, in 2010, there were 142 majorities created by the Alliance with the center-right parties and 110 on the left-green side. But if you go to 2014, there were only 90 on the right and 199 on the left-green, but you had already 100 that are crossover. So there you don't have anymore this right and left panel on policies. And this is increased also for 2018. But it's important to notice that we have a constitution here in Sweden that defines and protects the local self-government. In the first chapter, in the first article, we define the Swedish democracy as it will be realized by representativity, parliamentary policy, and through self-government, local self-government. So already in the first sentence of the constitution, the local and regional level is mentioned. And chapter 1, article 7, again, it's who will be in charge there. They are the local and regional authorities. Very important also to notice, it's under Chapter 14, the local authorities may levy taxes in order to perform their task. So this is very important to remind that this is the municipalities, the cities, and the region are defining themselves which level of taxes they will levy. So it's not the government who will decide which level they will levy. This is the local authorities and the regional. So again, here it's very important to remind, because it is the core stone of the Swedish self-governance. It is in the constitution, so it's nothing that can be changed by simple law, by decree, or by just a parliamentary debate. It has to be done by the constitution, which is a much more complicated process. The decision-making are taken by the elected assemblies, also for the local and regional level. So this is political assemblies with people that have been elected that are taking decisions. And again, the right to levy taxes is very, very important, as this is the core instrument for the cities, the municipalities, and the regions to provide the service that are mandated to provide. And also important to remind here is any restriction on the local self-government has to be proportional to the exceeding, or not exceeding what's the necessary given aim of the restriction is. The corona crisis shows this, for example. The national government cannot, for example, close all schools, all elderly care. It has to be done by the municipalities and by the regions. They can recommend, but again, this has to be done by the municipalities and the regions. Now we have talking about regions and municipalities. It's maybe time to present them. We have 20 regions in Sweden and 290 municipalities. It is important to remind that all the regions and the municipalities have the same task and compulsory mandatory services. Here in the map you can see major differences. For example, the region of Norrbotten is 98,000 square kilometers, which is huge. Myself, coming from Belgium, a country that is only 30,000 square kilometers, is 3 times the size of my country of origin. This gives a perspective how large this region is. The smallest region is the region of Stockholm in superficie. But then again, you have also how many people are living there. There you see a vast variety. You have Blekinge, who is the smallest one in size, but then you have Gotland, who is the smallest one in population with only 58,000 inhabitants. And you have Stockholm, who has nearly 2 million inhabitants. So you see the variation from 58,000 but 2 million with the same task, with the same responsibilities. It gives you already there a first approach how difficult it can maybe be on a regional level to provide, for example, healthcare for everyone, everywhere. How is it in your region, in your country? Do you have municipalities for all the same size? Are they rural, urban? How do you provide the services from those perspectives? What's for the regions is the same for the municipalities. You have the largest municipality is Kiruna, 90,400 square kilometers. And the smallest one is Sundbyberg, only 9 square kilometers, just outside Stockholm. But Sundbyberg and Kiruna has to provide school and maybe also public school transportation to the school. The city distance are quite different then. And again, also in population, regarding population, you have Bjurholm municipality with nearly 2,500 inhabitants, and again Stockholm with 650,000 inhabitants. Inhabitants are the people that have a right to service, but also the one that will pay the taxes. So again, if you have municipalities with only 2,500 taxpayers, possible taxpayers, it's a difference with 650,000. So those are the premises in which the regions have and the municipalities in order before they can provide the services. We talk about responsibilities and tasks that are mandatory or optional, but there is a clear division also what is on the national level, what's on the state. For example, foreign policy, public order. No municipality are allowed to do foreign policy. There are some other instruments where municipalities can help and be active on foreign outside the countries, for example, like ECLD or ESCON International. But still, we don't have in municipality a Minister of Foreign Affairs. We have also the national level. We have the higher education research, the labor market, social insurance, and transfer payment. The region has a main task, which is compulsory, and it is the health and medical care, and since recently, regional development. But regions can also support cultural activities and public transport. Most of the regions provide public transport. But again, remember the difference between the size of a region when you have to provide public transport and also the density of the population. A city like Stockholm needs public transportation, otherwise it's traffic jam every morning, every evening. But then the core of the Swedish welfare is delivered by the municipality. So you see the list. Mandatory are the social services, childcare and preschool, primary and secondary education, and also elder education, care for the elderly, support to physical and intellectually disabled people. Those functions that I just mentioned represent already 65% of the budget of a municipality. So those are the core business for the municipality: education and care of people. But then again, this is not the only part the municipality have. They have also health and environmental protection, spatial planning, very important. This is core for municipalities. Waste disposal and collection, water supply and sewerage. Another important again, rescue and emergency services. This is on the local level. So this is also important that they exist in every part of the country, regardless how large the region or the municipality is. So this is, again, a challenge for the members, to say the regions and the municipalities. Road and public spaces, maintenance, and library. Those are mandatory. Again, there's a list that are optional, but most of the municipalities are providing culture, housing, maybe also energy, but employment services, industrial and commercial services, and intra-municipal public service. So those are large responsibilities that are on the municipalities. But who is taking those decisions in the municipality in order to make sure that there is money? They will say the taxes, and who is in charge then to divide those resources? You have every 4th year general election, so you elect a political body in your municipality, the city council or the municipality council. In my municipality of Nacka, there are 61 representatives at the city assembly. Those 61 elect what we call an executive board. This board will be in charge for the day-to-day basis work at the municipality. One important thing that I didn't mention yet is you have around 36,000 people elected on a local level, and you have 4,000 people elected on a regional level. Roughly 93% of those elected people in charge in the city assemblies or in the committees are doing this on a spare time. So they are not professional politicians. So only 7% of those 40,000 people are the professional one, getting paid on a day-to-day basis. So the vast majority of those members of city councils are there on a spare time. So they are probably not experts in each field. You don't have to have a degree, or you don't need to be a lawyer in order to be member of a city council, of a regional council. It's very important. The best example here in Sweden that you don't need a degree is our Prime Minister, who is a welder. So to be able to become a politician in Sweden is not about the degree or the PhD, what you have. It's about the confidence. It's trust. Politics is the business of trust. You need to have the trust of the people and the citizen. This is the core of politics. And this is also on the local level. So here the city council elects an executive board with a president. and those persons are active on a day-to-day basis. But also within this executive board, we have representatives from the opposition. So on the executive board and all the different committees that are taking charge of the political work within the municipality are proportional representatives for the majority and for the opposition. So this gives equal access to all parts, to information, and to be part of the decision process, which often creates also then a large consensus. It gives a dialogue, it gives a consensus, that a better understanding for the decision that have been taken by the municipalities. Again, to make clear, to come back to this difference between the national level and the local and regional level, who takes what kind of decision. We mentioned earlier the bodies, the area where the responsibilities, but for example, the school is on a local level, so you can't have 290 kind of different type of school programs. This is on the national level, so we have what we call the Swedish school boards that's in charge to decide what has to be in the school programs. But then, how this will be implemented, this is on the local level, will be decided. I give you another example, is for example, the home care services. Municipalities are in charge for those services, can be for elderly people, but also for disabled people, to bring food, to clean the house, to bring the people social activities. But it's regulated on the national level, what kind of services has to be provided. But then again, how it will be done is on a local level. Some municipalities have it on their own municipal services. Some municipalities have it only on private sector, so private companies are delivering these services. And other municipalities decide that we have on a municipal services, but also leave the opportunities for companies to provide the services. Paid by the municipalities, but again, this will give the opportunity for the citizen to choose. But this is the result from a political decision, and this is from elections. So there you see also the connection you have for the citizen and the political, where you have a citizen, you're a right holder, but then again, you have someone to provide those services. So I will come back to this. The local and regional self-government is a principle of subsidiarity put in practice. You take a decision so close as possible to the people, the citizens, that are affected by the decision that you will take. It provides several relations between the citizen and the local and regional decision maker. As I mentioned, regions and municipalities are in charge for the largest part of the Swedish welfare. So it's also there creating this relationship between the service provider, the municipalities and the region, you as a politician, and the citizen, the service user. So this is already the first interaction that you, as a service user, is like if you buy a car. You want that if you buy a car, if you buy a blue car, that the blue car will be delivered, not a red car, for example. So this is very important. But it's maybe a color, but here we're talking also about the quality. You want that the best school for your kids. You don't accept less than better. The same also here as a municipality, as I mentioned, you levy taxes. So you're administrators of funds regarding a citizen who pay the taxes. This is a very important decision. If you give money, or you don't give it, you're taking money by the taxes. The one who is in charge for administration of those funds is very important. That there is a relation, there is no corruption, that the money is used properly and wisely. But also it's important to see this relation as a voter and local policy setter. So you as a voter, you can meet the local politicians in municipalities. As I mentioned, I'm myself elected in my municipality on a local basis. I'm not a star, but people will probably recognize me. My names are on public documents, and you can Google me, and you will find my face. You probably find me in the streets, in a supermarket, or close to a football stadium. So this is also a trust you can have between a citizen and local elected member of the assembly, where you can discuss, as you know the people, and you can meet them. They are not far distant. And then also you can approach them very easily. Myself, again, I'm looking forward to this context, as I'm curious to know how the services are provided. How is this? Are they happy, unhappy? What can be improved? What is not going well? If we are planning, is their advice? Do we take their advices into account? So this, again, the trust and dialogue, very important, not only within the political bodies, but also as the relation between the elected people and the citizens. There are three arguments for the local self-governments we usually present. Is efficiency. Again, the subsidiarity principle. We look at local and regional adjustment to local and regional needs and specificities. You remember the maps I showed on Sweden, the regions, the municipalities with the large differences. This is the base for the work for the municipalities and the regions. So, and then they know better how it looks like. It's difficult to imagine having a person in a ministry in Stockholm, the capital, deciding for all the school how it will have to be for 10 o'clock, for example. The premises are different. So this is very important that if you take a decision that will affect people, that you take it as close as possible, because then also you can create this dialogue that we mentioned earlier. The self-governments also in Sweden gives the opportunity for innovation. Again, 290 municipalities, they have the same tasks that are mandatory, but they have the liberty to improve the services in a certain way, to come with innovation, to find new solutions. Digitalization, for example, is very important. This innovation gives also the opportunity maybe later to show, to present, and to spread this new innovation to the other members, the other municipalities. So it is also important to remind that this, if you have a good idea, that you can share it with your colleagues around Sweden. And again, the participation. The closest to the citizen, you have a participation and dialogue with the citizens, which is important because if you take a decision, you must be able to explain it also to the citizen. You have to be able to stand for it. So this is by dialogue when you meet them at the football stadium or the supermarket. A lot of freedom on a local and regional level. Can they do everything? Is it free to do whatever they want? Well, there are rules and regulations, but it's better also to give some supervision to control. And I will present you those different ways of control that are built within the self-government system in Sweden we have. First of all is the right to appeal. So if any citizen or property owner may test the legality of a decision taken by City Council, they can do it by putting an appeal at an administrative court. So if you are not happy with a decision, you can go to court and appeal to court. This is very important because if you feel that the decision has not been right, at least a judge will have a look on it and see if it's within the frame of the legal or the law. You can also, if it's based on discrimination, go to different ombudsmen. This is specific. It was specific here to Sweden, but it's more and more spread around the world that you can, on different discrimination base, go to ombudsman and get your case appealed there. A very important way of supervision on a local and regional level, it's within the political bodies, within the city assembly. As for example, my municipality, we have 61 elected ones. Among those 61, we will choose elected laymen auditors. So there are peers to us, meaning they are from our party, from opposition party. They will scrutinize what we have done and how we implement the work, the decision we have taken. So it is very important also to understand that this is my colleague in the same party, but also the colleague from the opposition. And they have to come together with recommendation and the follow-up of the work done. So this is, and there are politicians also. So they have also the feeling of what we are doing. So there are external auditors checking books, regulation. But then again, if a decision is taken, is decision followed up on the proper way? Often, but it's not always the case, the committee chairman of those layman auditors is a member of the opposition party. But again, it's free for the municipalities to choose if it's a member of the opposition or member of the majority. But the document that we presented will be on this committee as a general. So this is nothing that only one person can write down and push forward. We have also supervision from outside. We have the media, the civil society, the citizen. They are scrutinizing what we are doing on a local and regional level, where we have what we call the Transparency Act, but also the Official Secret Acts. All the documents are legal and open for everyone to scrutinize, to read. I cannot hide them unless there are specific reasons. The most of those cases are in the social services when you can recognize a name of a child or of a family. Again, I'm locally elected, so I know all my emails that I have in the municipalities are scrutinized by the media, but also a citizen can ask to have all my conversation. Part of a committee, I received the working documents 1 week before the meeting. I received them personally, but they are open for everyone on the website of the municipality. So everyone, every citizen can go in on the website of the municipality and read the same documents that I have access to. There are no secret documents there. There are the documents that we take the decision on, which gives the opportunity for the citizen, again, to scrutinize only what kind of decision we're taking, but also to contact me later if something is unclear, if there's something that will affect them. So they can send me emails, contact the media also. So this is also there, again, this dialogue that is very important between the citizen and the political bodies. The municipality have also what we call database, so we collect information. This gives from one municipality, but also on a national level. So you can compare between municipalities different information in database. My workplace, the Swedish Association of Local Authorities and Regions, we have around 20 what we call open comparisons. So we compare in a specific matter municipalities and regions, which gives actually a tool for empowering the municipalities to get better results on the coming measures, but also a tool for the citizen to compare. We have, for example, for mathematical programs to see are the schools providing the results that are expected to provide. It gives a tool for the citizen to go back to the school or the municipality to claim, look, the municipality here can provide a service. Why cannot we do it here? Contact me again as a political bodies or write to the media so they are also aware about it. So this is very important, this openness and transparency. It's not only for the working documents, it's not only for the main conversation, but it's also all for the expenditures I have if I go on travel or I have to explain. I have to give the explanation why I'm this travel, if I'm on lunch, why I'm this lunch, why I'm meeting on this lunch, this person, what was the purpose of this meeting, and what was the result I expected to have. So I cannot have a free lunch, as mentioned like this, on the tax money. We had within, we have outside, but have also above, we have supervision. We mentioned already earlier, this is a state on the national level who decided what has to be done. The best example is a school. So there the municipality decide what kind of school system will be put in place, if it's only public, only private and public, or only private. But again, those schools must deliver, must come up to the results. There you have the National Agency for Education. They will scrutinize the results and also then the municipalities and will send recommendation and guidance and support and follow up to municipalities in order to reach the goals that are set in the legislation. So it's very important that not only from within and from outside, but that you have also that somewhere you have a guarantee that this service that will be provided to all citizens, for example, school, will reach a certain quality for everywhere in Sweden, regardless the school system, if it's private or public, and regardless where you live in Sweden. The national level has also what we call the governorates. They are checking that municipalities are following regulation regarding animal welfare, alcohol licenses, and protection of the environment. So there's also a body following up that everything is done correctly on those services. But also one important thing that we have in Sweden here, the municipalities are in charge for the physical planning. So the municipalities are taking decision on this plan, but citizens can go in appeal to make sure that the regulations are followed on the process, but also on the planning. It can be, as I mentioned earlier, regarding environment. You have nature. If you want to build a house, you maybe have to cut down trees. Are those trees, can you cut them down? Or these are elderly trees that are not allowed to cut down? So this governorates are a body that will check this out. I mentioned several times already, but it's, again, a core. It's the trust, it's the confidence that the citizens have in municipalities and regions, but also on the national level. It's our democratic system. The citizens are part of what we call the physical planning process. If you build new houses, neighbors will be asked. We will ask their opinion. Often it's negative, but there are legal frames so you can discuss. But still, they can come with an opinion. But if there are criticism regarding that dimension, regarding the color of the house, the height of the house, we cannot ignore it. So we stay as a dialogue to understand it and to follow up in the process. But the municipalities can also have what they call civil dialogue with citizens. Those programs are encouraged because, again, we are not professional in all matters. And if a decision affects a neighborhood, local group, it's better to have a dialogue with this group, with those neighbors, with those citizens, to understand their needs, but to understand the consequence of the decision that will be taken, to have a dialogue, to explain the reasons. And when we have come to a decision that we can also stand for this decision. So this is also important. But again, if you don't have the confidence from the citizen, what will they do? There are elections again in 4 years. They vote for another party. So this is also important for you as a political, if you want to keep the mandate, that you listen to the citizen. So this is very important to have this dialogue because it creates this confidence, the trust, and a democratic base of a society. Other part, very important, as I mentioned earlier, if you take taxes, you go in the pocket of the citizen in several ways. If you go work, if you go buy stuff, and the companies are paying taxes. It's not the Ministry of Finances who are collecting this money here in Sweden. It's the Swedish tax agency. As I mentioned, the municipalities in the region have the right to levy taxes, which means in practice in Sweden, you have 290 different levels of taxation, where each municipality has the right to define exactly how high this tax will be. So this has consequences that there are 290 difference. And it goes from 29 crowns to 34 crowns, which gives a variation. Again, because the tasks are the same, but the service has to be provided. Again, if you have school buses that must make 150 kilometers in the morning and 150 kilometers in the evening, cost much more than municipalities where the total area is only 9 square kilometers. The Swedish tax agency collects the money and then redistributes the money to the government and the administration, but also to the regions and to the municipalities. So there is no Minister of Finances collecting the money, keeping a share of the money because they need maybe have new programs. No. If a municipality decided it will be 29% of taxation, the municipality will receive the 29% of taxations. There is no shortcuts there. As you maybe understand here, the municipalities and region represent 80% of the public services. If you're in charge for all the school, primary school, secondary school, for the healthcare, so you see it's a large number, which represents finally 21% of the GDP in Sweden, a large number. 80% are own finances. So the municipalities and the regional taxes and fees are covered. The services are covered by 80%. The other 20% are by grants, general grants, or by specific grants from the state, or by different programs from the EU, for example. 80% of the public service, it demands a lot of people to work. I mean, imagine schools, hospitals. So the municipalities and regions employ roughly 30% of the total labor force in Sweden. So it's approximately 1.1 million people here in Sweden working for municipalities or region, which is a large part of Sweden. So this is very integrated for everyone. Again, you understand the process here. People working for the municipalities in the region, they are part of the decision that you have taken as a politicians. So if you take a decision as a politician, it will affect not only the taxpayer who have to pay it, but also will affect the labor force, how they will provide the services. And specifically in Sweden, it's 80% of the workforce from working for the municipalities and regions are women. We are working actively to have a balance there also, to see that there, for example, the fire brigade, largely dominated by men, that there are more and more women working there. It's a necessity because women come to places where men cannot reach. So this is it's not only the strong and big guys that can do this work. So it's everyone is able to do it. An important part of the local self-governance, as we mentioned, is the finances, as the municipality has the responsibility, but has also to finance it by the taxes. But you cannot raise taxes endlessly. You have to have a balance. You have to kind of make sure that one municipality just have 15% in taxes, another one 35%. So in Sweden, we have what we call the Equalization System. So this has several purposes. So it gives an equalization regarding the taxation. So the richest municipality are giving away a part of the money for those who are poorer. But it is based not only on finances, but also on the structural that you cannot change. For example, if you have a municipality where you have a large part of elderly people, they're not working anymore. They have just a pension. They are paying taxes on the pension, but the pensions do not raise as fast as the salaries. And elderly will probably need more cares. This is a structural phenomenon you cannot change. This is fixed for your municipality. So this will be compensated by this equalization system, for example. Another objective of this equalization system is to guarantee the quality of the provided services, or is simply to have the services that can be provided. Let me put it like this. Every municipality is in charge of the planning process. So you need architects, you need engineers. Remember the small municipality of Bjurholm with only 2,500 people? How can they finance an architect and an engineer if there are so low people there, so low a number of people there? So this system also provides the opportunity that every municipality can provide the services, but also provide and guarantee the quality of the services. And finally, the finance and principle. Mentioned again, it's the national level who decides what needs to be done, and it's the local and regional level that will provide the services. So you imagine it can be very easy. The parliament decides, oh, we will make it possible that the roads are not 6 meters, but are 8 meters wide. Very reasonable decision, because more space for cars, more security you can put there. But it's not the parliament that will put in place the roads, it's the municipalities. So then again, the state cannot decide something that will affect the regional level and local level. They have to provide the service, they have to provide those roads, they have to maintain those roads. So if a decision will affect the economy of the local and regional level, the state must provide also the financial to those new services. So here you see that the national level decides, but provided and produced by the local and regional level, there are a relation there also financially. Thank you for listening. I hope it was interesting, and this short introduction gives you a short insight of how Sweden works on a local and regional level, the importance of the dialogue between the citizen and the political bodies, the trust and the confidence that are needed in order to build together with the citizens and the political bodies a democratic society. Thank you for listening. Take care.